Sound clap in 3, 2, 1, so you can find the sync.
Hey, highly recommenders. This is Joseph. We're here with Josef Manuel, creator and founder of Choke Lab, as well as Hapsumoto's first American black belt. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Just got done with an awesome workout. Rolling with the boys, you know?
Yeah, I see we're both breaking a little bit of sweat right now. I do appreciate you taking the time, and I do apologize for taking you away from training right now. But what are you here for? Why are you visiting HQ?
So we are doing a string of seminars. I have an injury, neck injury that I'm dealing with. I've been dealing with for years, and I was thinking about, stem cell therapy. So we're doing a string of seminars to generate the funds to be able to go and get the therapy out in Texas and fix up. I got herniation in C6, C7, impingement in the nerve, yeah.
Jeez, that's not good at all. So you got a neck injury and you're gonna be doing a seminar to raise funds to help take care of that?
Yes, sir.
What's the seminar about tomorrow?
So we're gonna be covering some concepts in 50-50, prevention,
50-50 prevention?
Yeah, just trying to get caught in that position.
Man, that's my go-to move right there. Or go-to guard is 50-50. I find like when I'm rolling up against high-level purples or anyone higher, like that saves me. I get in 50-50, I lock it up real quick.
And you're not gonna like this seminar then?
Oh no, yeah, I noticed earlier when I was rolling with you, I got into it and you're like, poof, and I'm like, no, you got out of it so quick. Usually it's that seesaw, the teetering back and forth for a bit. Is that what you're gonna help prevent?
Yeah, I feel that, everything has its place in time, and I feel like 50-50, it had a time where, there are a lot of wonderful things that you can do there. Unfortunately, when you have two high-level black belts where they know the moves and counters, they just get stuck in this back and forth. So I find personally, it's a little annoying when I go watch a black belt finals and then they're just stuck in that position. I get pissed off because I'm like, I want to see some action, man.
Yeah, it gets a little boring.
So, I find myself like scrubbing. Once I know they get in there, I'm like, this match is done. It's very rare to see somebody get out of it. I mean, there are a few guys out there in the world that can do some damage from there, like Hudson Mateos.
Hudson Mateos?
Yeah, he can do a serious arm lock from there. We just saw Mateos Gabriel. He caught Luan Carvalho at a BJJ bet with a beautiful arm lock. And then you have, I'm not really a huge fan of this guy, but I got to give him credit where it's due. Herbert Santos has a wicked knee.
Herbert Santos?
50-50,
Yeah.
But that's like a dime a dozen, man. There's only a handful of guys that can actually get some real work done from there. I know in the purple belt division, the lower ranks and lighter weights, there is more action, but I'm talking about black belts. When two black belts go at it and they're stuck there, there's not really much going on. So we can't, I'm kind of like a little spoiler of what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but, the IBJJF, I think they do more good than bad, right? Everybody criticizes them.
Yeah.
I feel that they do a great job at a lot of things. And I remember when we had this controversy over the double guard pull, which was kind of like, it was a little annoying, right? It was boring, it's not really attractive. They made a change to the rule, but it took years. So I feel like as professors, instructors, as competitors, we can't sit around waiting for a governing body to make rules to change. We have to do the change at the academy. So personally, I've been working on techniques to prevent people from getting into a solid 50-50, and then I can keep the match going. And so those are the techniques that we're going to be talking about tomorrow, sharing some of these fundamental concepts behind how do you prevent, how do you recognize. So basically, there are a few places where you wind up in that position, and one of them is like off of a really bad leg drag. So when you're doing a leg drag, you see competitors do a leg drag, and their head position is off. That usually leaves the person on the bottom a lot of space to go and reach and underhook the leg and then start going 50-50.
Okay.
When they're trying to prevent the leg drag.
Yeah,
So we're going to correct the leg drag first. So this way you don't get dragged into 50-50. Make sure the head placement is correctly, shoulder placement is correct.
I can't wait for tomorrow.
And then once you do that, it's going to be very difficult for them to pull you in from the leg drag into 50-50. But if they do, how to quickly, obviously we know what they're doing because we won't be able to recognize it, how to quickly prevent them from grabbing the lapel and locking you into the position.
Man, I can't wait for tomorrow then, because that's, like I was saying, that's my go-to game right there. I love 50-50, so if I can learn how to prevent other people from putting me into it, so that way I can use it to my advantage, all the better in regards to that. Now, you're a second or third degree black belt?
I am a third degree black belt.
You're a third degree black belt? So you've been doing this for a very long time. When did you start, if you don't mind me asking?
No, not at all. I started training in 2001.
2001?
Yes.
Sheesh.
Just before the September 11th attacks. It was August.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so that's literally a month before that.
Yeah, I remember my first month training. I went to class and professor canceled class because he was really upset about that whole situation.
And was that Professor Hobson or was
No, that was my first instructor was Mario Marcio Lemos.
Mario
Marcio
Lemos.
Yeah. He was at the time a brown belt. He had gotten his brown belt from Hickson Gracie.
Brown belt from Hickson?
Yeah. He was at that time he was in Jersey, but he had come from California, and he was competition team coach for Hickson at the Hickson Gracie Academy.
A part of the competition team?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So part of the competition team with Hickson, and he started teaching you up in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so you started in 2001 August, and you've been training ever since, or was there times that you had to break off?
No breaks.
No breaks. Just once it was go, it's been ever since. Now, did you stay? Because you're Hobson's first black belt, so
no, not first black belt.
Or I mean,
first
American black belt.
The first black belt was on
first American black belt.
My boy Andre.
Andre was Hobson's first.
Shirubira. That was his first black belt.
I didn't know that.
He came to Robinho. He was a brown belt. He came from Cousin Gracie to Robinho.
Okay.
And then Robinho promoted him first to black belt. Now I was the first of the non-Brazilians in the U.S. to get promoted to black belt.
Okay, so first all-American black belt under
Born and raised
under Hobson. Okay, well that's an honor and title to have. Honestly,
proud to be an American.
Darn right. That's why we're here. So, when did you start training under Hobson?
2005.
2005?
Yeah. I met him in 2004, went to Brazil to compete in the Worlds over there, went looking for him at the Novino Academy. They told me he moved to Sao Paulo. And then a month later, when I came back to Jersey, I ran into him at the Naga's Wildwood battle at the beach. He was standing right there.
Guys, he was telling me this story prior to the interview. He literally went seeking Hobson in Brazil, didn't find him, came back to the States like a month later at this party festival, sees Hobson, right? It was at a festival?
No, it was a tournament.
Oh, it was at a tournament. Sorry, they don't party. But yeah, at a tournament, and he walked up and saw Hobson there. And ever since, that's the story, right? You've been training under him?
It was fate. It was meant to be. I found him
watching. That's nuts.
When I was training with Mario, I remember walking into the academy one day, and he had this T-shirt on, 1999 Worlds. It has Saulo Ribeiro on it. It said the most technical fighter. I went online and I came across Jorge Gracie's website, where they were selling tape sets, like 1, 2, 3 of the
like tapes or like VHS or
VHS.
Yeah, that's old school. Okay, showing your age there.
And I remember I bought the 1999 and the 2000, 2001. But of the 1999, I saw him. He was the second match. The first match was Omar Saloon. Second match was Ralph Moore versus Vinicius Magalhães, Vinicinho. And he pulls guard, beautiful, absolutely phenomenal butterfly guard sweep. And then when he sweeps the guy, the opponent winds up pulling him, drops him into deep half, and Robson rocks him with a knee bar. It was insane. It was like, and I had watched the rest of the VHS, but I kept coming back to that one. I was like, bro, who is this guy? It was like the intensity, it was just something different. Like some of the other black belt matches, they were kind of like, standing. Back then, the stalling back then was like stand up, or close guard. That was the stalling back then.
Okay.
So it was like a lot of that, but Hobson's was like fire right off the bat. So I fell in love with his jiu-jitsu, and that's why I went looking for him, because I was like, I couldn't even imagine what this guy could teach me, Like that's what I thought in my head. Like I can't.
Well, I sort of had the same story. So I was training under different people as well, and then I started training under Tony Danica down at Punta Gorda Martial Arts, RMNU affiliate. And prior to me realizing that he's training under Hobson, I'm talking to Tony. I'm like, hey man, I'm a big fan of Jeff Glover. I love the donkey guard, but he rolled with this guy, and it was an ADCC match, and the guy got put into a knee bar, and he didn't even flinch, nothing. He just act very cool, calm, collective. And I was telling Tony the story, and Tony's like, that's Hobson, Joseph. That's Hobson, my professor, the one that I teach you his moves. And I'm like, what? No way. And then, so afterwards, he brought me up here. He's like, listen, Joseph, this is before I moved up here. So he brought me up here. I met Hobson literally right over there under his banner. And he's just sitting there talking to everyone else. And there, me, as timid as could be, like very intimidated by him, even though we both know he's a very nice guy, welcoming guy. But I'm there like talking like the Looney Tunes character, like, my name's Joseph. Hi, pleasure to meet you. They were all laughing. And yeah, ever since I moved up here like a year later and just started training under him right away. And now been with him for about 4 years and hopefully be similar to you and get my black belt under his banner. So I like how the stories are pretty similar in that way, and I hear it from many other people as well. So now you live in New Jersey, you still live there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you still live in New Jersey. Is it like South Jersey or North Jersey? Because I know it's split.
Yeah, North Jersey.
North Jersey?
We're by Newark, New Jersey, which is one of the major cities there. You got Camden and Newark.
Okay, Newark. I've flown into there a few times. I know.
Very nice place.
Very nice?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know much about it.
No, Newark is like...
Okay.
But, we're by Harrison. It's not actually, I mean, I was born and raised in Newark, but I moved out of there. Fortunately, I was able to move out of Newark into a town nearby where there were a lot more opportunities for studies and work and things like that.
Okay, and you're in Harrison operating a school there, right? You're in...
We've been there since 2004, man.
Since 2004, so basically right after or right before you met Hobson.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just opened a school before I met Hobson, and so when I opened the school, I was able to affiliate with him, and I've been under his guidance since then, and we've just been growing and serving the community there for many years. Thousands of families have come through our school, and we've seen a lot of people. We've helped a lot of people who are already talented and gifted with the martial arts to become even better people.
And you with COVID and everything, you still have a full class, or is everything
because of the longevity in the neighborhood that we have and the history, we were able to get back on our own track. We didn't really lose too many people, thankfully.
Okay.
We have a really solid base of students that were supporting the academy, which I'm super blessed for that, thankful for them for that. And then we were able to get right back on track once things eased up a little bit.
Now, I know you're creator and founder of Choke Laboratory. Is that what your school is called, or is that? I've been following it on social media for a long time. So before I get to that, what is your school called? Is it RMNU New Jersey, or?
Well, the school, because I had the name for the school already before I met Robson, it was called Cutting Edge Brazilian. It is called Cutting Edge Brazilian.
It is Cutting Edge Jiu-Jitsu?
Because when we opened up at that time, there were hardly any schools that were open 7 days a week. They had morning classes, midday classes, and evening classes. So it was like I was trying to run like a 24-hour, 24/7 type of school. So this way, if there was anybody crazy out there like I was about jiu-jitsu, he'd be happy at my school because we had access to all types of classes, gi, no gi. And so at that time, there were very few schools, or maybe none at that time, that were open so frequently. And so that's why we decided to name it Cutting Edge Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So when we compete, though, we register under RMNU in New Jersey,
Okay.
RMNU NJ, or CEBJJ/RMNU.
Okay, all right, makes
We
sense.
try to make sure that if there are any other teammates of ours that register under RMNU, we could tally up the points together.
Now, as you know,
Team points.
As you know, I represent the highly recommended, so you are someone that is highly recommended in regards to the jiu-jitsu world. In your school's Cutting Edge Jiu-Jitsu, and you produce a lot of quality content and instructional videos. Is that how you teach? Is it like very detailed, broken down, oriented? Because I know sometimes here it is very detailed, but sometimes like it's like 3 moves pushed into one, and you learn it or you don't, and you just gotta drill it with other people that do. What's your school, for people who've never been there, what's your school like learning at?
Well, first and foremost, our main thing is teaching health and fitness through the martial arts.
Nice,
right?
nice. I like
So
that. Health
self-defense
fitness first.
Yeah, health and fitness, and then we always start with the self-defense. I'm a huge proponent of the self-defense aspect of jiu-jitsu. I feel that it's an easy way to teach. People who come from the street, they don't know much about jiu-jitsu. It's complicated to just take them down to the ground and start teaching De La Riva, reverse De La Riva, Betty Mo. I don't do that stuff. They usually go through a self-defense program where, you know, certain days of the week we focus strictly on that, you know, all the self-defense techniques, street attack self-defense. Now, once they've gotten the foundation, then we'll move from there and then start teaching a lot more of the Newaza, which is the ground techniques, you know? So that's what we mainly do and focus on. Now, naturally, when I was coming up and I was teaching and I first opened my school, you know, I believed that competition was gonna help me to be able to, in a safe manner. Now, I didn't have to do what the Gracies did, was like challenging people in street fights to prove the efficiency of jiu-jitsu. I didn't have to do that. I could just go to a tournament.
Yeah.
In a safe environment. I didn't have to lose any teeth or anything like that.
No, not at all.
No holds bar matches.
And thank God for IBJJF for
so-
setting that up.
Yeah, so, you know, I came at a time where we didn't have to go through all that. Thankfully to them, they did that for us. They laid the foundation. And that's how I was able to, for my student, not that students asked for that, but I was like, in case there's ever a student that asks, they will know that they can believe in what I'm teaching because we have years and years of competition experience and a huge success rate to back that up.
Oh, no, I know there's a fellow jiu-jitsu practitioners, especially my teammates that are big into the competitions. I'm not one of them. But were you one of those individuals as well?
Yes.
Growing through your jiu-jitsu journey?
Well, I was fascinated with the self-defense jiu-jitsu. I loved it.
Okay.
I still do. There was one day where a friend of mine who, he used to compete. One day he told me, Joe, because I was training like fanatical from day one. I was training like 2-3 times a day. So he was like, why are you training like this? I was like, I don't know, I just like it.
Yeah,
like,
it's a passion.
He's like, dude, you need to go out there and get out of these four walls and go compete. And I was like, yeah, really? He goes, I'll take you to a tournament. So he took me to a grappler's quest back then.
A grappler's quest, okay.
Yeah. And I remember standing in the we got there early before they even explained the rules. We were there early. And I remember standing in the bleachers looking at all the rings. It was like 16 rings or something like that. And I saw when they started, we all saluted the flag, national anthem, and then the referees were standing in the center of the ring and they went, ooh. And when you saw those athletes come out and then go at it, I was like, bro, I knew I had to be there. I knew it. I was like, yo, that is crazy.
That's complete opposite of me.
I was like, bro, what do I need to do to get there, you know? And that's when I didn't even, it was like just watching, I got the bug, you know?
No, not me. Like I said, I'm not into competition, but I did go to Foley, Alabama. I did a straight drive over there, right into the competition. I got there and I started watching them compete. I was with my friend, Aiden Collins, who's now in Wyoming teaching, whatever, but I went there with him and I'm like, oh man, I just started psyching myself out. He's like, Joseph, don't, man. You're a Hobson student. You're training at one of the best schools. You got this. Trust me. I went in there. Yeah, I came out with gold. So I'm very proud of myself in regards to that. Thank you. So I was wondering about that because I know some other people who just get into the jiu-jitsu world, they get very nervous like myself, whereas other
That's
people
normal.
like Kobe Liptov just jumps right into it against the biggest guy and he's only the littlest. Now, just to, don't want to hold you up too longer, but did want to talk a little bit about Choke Laboratory a bit. So what made you create that? Because I saw those videos basically breaking down techniques, some of the best techniques that are being shown in the jiu-jitsu world right now, as well as in the past. I've seen you pull up old videos, new videos, recent ones, and just literally dissect and analyze each of those techniques or submissions down to where even when I was just getting into it, I could fully understand. So what made you come up with that idea? What made you do that? Because it's helped a lot of people.
A few reasons. One was because I remember one time back in 2000, I think it was 2014 or 15, there was the World Expo and Robson was competing there. They had, it was a big event that they had where there was like seminars, there was a tournament, and then there was actually super fights. And Bruno Frazzaro was at a super fight, Vito Shaolin, there was a super fight with him. And Robson had a super fight against Pahumpinha, Marcos da Mata.
Marcos
And-
D'Amata?
Yeah, and then what happened was I was waiting for the news to come out, but there weren't any outlets that covered it. They covered the results of Shaolin's match, the results of Bruno Fazzado's match, but no one covered the results of Ross's match. So I was a little upset about that. I was like, come on, man, you know, like you had all these different news outlets, and what really bothered
And
me
this
a
was
little bit
before
about,
flow grappling, correct?
yeah, what really bothered me about it was the fact that he was the only black belt that finished his opponent. So I'm like, I thought that in the art of jiu-jitsu, that was our focus, is to look for the finish. And then you have the smallest guy who got the finish, but no one reported on it, except for somebody, which I don't remember his name right now. It was something like MMA something. I'll find out the name and I'll let you know. Anyway, I started scouring the internet looking for information until I found that one guy who interviewed Robson, and then he had some clips of the match. So I took the match, I pulled it down, and then I chopped it up. Now, at that time, I wasn't really into Instagram. My wife was trying to get me into it. I was kind of annoyed by it. I thought it was like SEO for dummies.
Okay.
You know, with the hashtags. So I was like, whatever. Anyway, long story short, I remember that she created an account for me. I closed it. I was like, I don't have time for that. And then I was like, you know what? Let me get back in there. I opened it up, and when I posted that video, it went viral. So I was like, wow. Now I thought to myself, you know what? Gracie Magazine, they can only cover but so many people.
Yeah.
You know, they can't cover the whole world. So I was like, let me jump in there and help instead of criticizing and complaining, right? About what they didn't cover. Just help, try to cover. So we do post like techniques and stuff like that of some famous people, but I try to repost stuff of other people that just might never wind up on the cover of Gracie Magazine or never wind up on,
I've seen
Pro Grappling. You know, there's just so many people in the jiu-jitsu world that are contributing to the art, who are great professors, great assistant instructors, great, look at what you're doing, right? You contributed to the art in some way, but you're not gonna wind up on the cover of Gracie Magazine. You're never gonna wind up on the cover of Jiu-Jitsu Magazine.
Hopefully I do.
Yeah, you never know. Or you might never, let me rephrase that. You might never show up on Flow Grappling. So I said, let me jump in there. We'll focus on some famous people, but let's focus on the community.
Yeah.
So if you notice, like, we repost a lot of stuff from just the community, just people who are putting stuff out there. Now, there are some famous people that we repost, but for the most part, we want to try to focus on the little guy.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say, is like you've posted a lot of famous, non-famous people to where I never knew about them until you posted them. And I just started following from there, and I think you've helped this industry grow a lot more than, I don't know if anyone's told you that, but I feel like you've been a strong helping hand in getting the known, unknown, like I said, submissions, techniques, people, things in the jiu-jitsu industry out there.
There are some savages out there that they just have their lives. They're not really focused on trying to get a huge following on Instagram, and they'll post like some content, and it's dope, man. It's really dope. And so I'll be like, you know what? Let's repost it, man. And you know, to their surprise, they're like, wow. You know, all of a sudden you wake up in the morning, you go check your Instagram, and you got like all these likes and followers. Like, where the hell did this come from? Right?
Out of nowhere.
It's really cool. So it's like, I like that. I really like that.
Yeah.
I try not to really talk too much about it. This is like the first time I really talk about Choke Lab, because, you know, people are just, in a sense, they're like, we have this culture of like, I'm team Gracie Barra, you're team Ramson Mora, and then they don't want to identify with that because it's like a team. So I was like, trying to stay objective in the whole game. Just let people look at it from like a perspective that it's not a person, it's just jiu-jitsu, man.
Yeah.
You know? At the end of the day, we might represent different banners and flags.
But it's a
at
way
the
of
end the day,
life.
we all represent Team Jiu-Jitsu, right? We all represent the banner of Jiu-Jitsu, right? So sometimes, like, I understand the team thing, but in some regards, like, you gotta put that to the side. There's times where we would post someone that got promoted. I remember, I don't do it as much anymore, but we would repost a picture of someone that got a blue belt, purple belt, and then I would put in the comment, you don't have to be part of their team to congratulate them. Because no one would congratulate. It's like, dude, so what? They're not on your team. It's someone who got, I know what I felt like when I got my blue belt.
For
Bro,
real?
I was on a honeymoon. I was like, bro, that blue belt, I said, walk around with it. You know, it was like, you think I won the UFC belt. So
Yeah,
walking
for
around in
real.
public with it. Bro, I was so happy. So when I see people who post it on their Instagram and it gets like 5 likes, I'm like, let me repost it. And then it gets 1,000 likes. Man, that's pretty cool, man, right?
It's a great thing.
So that's what we're about.
Well, I like to hear that, and that's why I was like, all right, he's here visiting. I only got like a day. I got to make it happen. I got to get this interview and find and understand the genius behind what you're doing, what made you do that. Now, one of the questions that I always like to ask, and really to wrap it up, is that This is highly recommended. You are highly recommended. What you do is highly recommended. But what is one technique, one drill, one submission that you do that you think is highly recommended that everyone should know about?
Man.
I know, this always stumps everyone that I ask.
I always really focus a lot and pay a lot of attention to our fundamental drills.
Fundamentals.
Yeah, like the fundamental drills. Like
Fundamental drills.
I mean, rephrase that. Fundamental techniques that we drill, like when it comes to like the warm-ups.
Okay.
Like, I'm very particular about how I do my forward roll, how I do my back roll, how I do like my scorpions or hand walks or cartwheels or hip escape. Very, very particular about that, because if I just go through the motion, then when it's time to use that in drilling and sparring, I'm just gonna go through the motion. It's not gonna be a refined technique. So I'm very particular personally. I make sure that I always do my warm-ups intentionally, purposefully, when I do my forward roll, when I do my back roll, when I do my cartwheel, when I do my hip escape, reverse hip escape. Any of those exercises that are the very fundamental movements that we use in Jiu-Jitsu, right? I try to focus on doing them purposefully, intentionally, and with detail, not just do a forward roll.
Correct.
Right? So this way, when I need to do a rolling omoplata, I just posted a video. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I did. It was just the other day.
It's perfect. I land it all the time because my forward roll is precise. It's not just a sloppy, forward, crazy, spazzy roll. It's a very precise forward roll.
So you like to understand and refine the fundamental technique drills that you do as well as that you teach to your students?
Yes, I believe that as an instructor, when it comes to helping them do techniques in Jiu-Jitsu, the better they are at doing those forward rolls, back rolls, hip escapes, then when it comes to doing a hip escape from escaping from the mount or hip escape from side control, it's going to be a really good hip escape that's going to help them get out of the position. So I fight with them. I'm like, man, don't just do like a crazy hip escape. Don't just do like a crazy forward roll. Take your time. Think about what you're doing. Do it correctly, because this is going to come in handy when you're doing techniques.
Well, Joseph, I do appreciate it. Guys, as you see, Josef Manuel, Cutting Edge, Choke Lab, as well as RMNU, New Jersey. Highly recommended. Thank you for taking the time.
My pleasure.